Hello, guests. You're listening to Catalyst Talks, conversations with change agents, outliers, superheroes, and truly conscious leaders modeling what it is to be an unstoppable force for good in this world. What lit these catalysts on fire to do their work, and what nuggets of wisdom can they share with a world literally on fire? This podcast is for you who cares deeply and seeks to catalyze the world. I'm your host, Stephanie Trager. I'm a catalyst coach to superstar change agents in business, leadership, and life, founder of Intentional Paradigms and also Trager Law, the conscious contracts firm, helping thought leaders scale and protect their creative genius. The whole idea of Catalyst Talks and these conversations is to understand how these leaders have approached being on the leading edge of their craft. How did they uncover their purpose? And what does it really take to catalyze change and at scale? Please subscribe to our podcast and help us grow. We're aiming to reach 1 million people at least in 2020. Let's wake up the world together. Hello and welcome to Catalyst Talks podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Trager, and today I will be sharing with you some perspectives from these times. I want to share with you some of the things that have been circling in my spiritual consciousness over this past few weeks. And we are really, obviously, we all have an opinion. We all are either forming an opinion or sharing our opinion or something, but it's a time where we are all in a meaning-making process. And what I mean by meaning-making is we're finding our truth in this new ground we're standing on, based on imprints, based on conditioning, beliefs, assumptions, mindsets, ways we've been programmed to live in the paradigm we all share. And our meaning making shows up in different ways. Sometimes it's subconscious, sometimes it's conscious. Right now, I think a lot of people are consciously forming opinions and meaning over various pieces of facts that we're receiving. And you all know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to name this thing in this conversation today. I am merely giving space for the energy of what we're all collectively being reckoned with. Like, this is a global reckoning right now. And we are being asked to listen to what is really going on, to what is really being said, not by the news and the facts and the data. Yes, some people are losing people they love. That is real, and they're listening to that. That's the reality. And in a bigger picture, this is it's tragic on so many levels. And yet from tragedy grows new paradigms and new constructs. And we're being offered an opportunity to create new. I have my own beliefs and feelings of knowing of how this whole thing began. And it could easily be called a conflict from what else I'm saying. So basically, I do believe that this is a man-made epidemic. This is a man-made thing that for whatever intention it has released itself into being. I also believe that has been part of the curated plan. So we can take ourselves out by looking at a linear, but for A then B, or A, but for A then plus B equals C. We can take ourselves out from the larger picture of what is going on. What's really going on is that whether it's spirit or God or consciousness or whatever your higher power is called, or whether you don't really subscribe to having a higher power or any other entity or force or spirit outside of yourself. However your meaning making is programmed, what is going on is that this giant earth we live on, no one can deny that. We all share that. We live on a living, breathing planet in the solar system, and this planet has its own intelligence, and the intelligence and wisdom of this planet, plus other potentially invisible energies from different dimensions, from different invisible, like things that we can't always explain by science or by the eye or by our own understanding because of our meaning-making paradigms that we've been programmed with. There is something larger unfolding, and it is a collective, like a unified effort based on from this Mother Earth and other entities being like in a divine course of order, like a divine order. Um, no, so Mother Earth and a spirit world. There is a spirit world out there, in here, everywhere. And so it is this beautiful expansion happening that is telling us to stop and listen. I spent a few years ago, I was visiting with the Kogi tribe. The Kogi are an indigenous group in the Sierra Nevada mountain range in Colombia. And they are a beautiful people who have really never been colonized. They escaped the Spanish occupation. When Spanish came in like thousands of years ago, hundreds of years ago, they ran up to the mountains. And so for thousands of years, they have existed in their traditional ways of being, and they want to continue to do that. And so there's a lot of the Kogi, and they're part of the lineage of the Tairona people. And so I spent time with a Kogi Mamo, and the Mamo is a word for shaman, and his name was Juan. And he was saying that, there's about 5 years max with life as we know it on planet Earth, on Mother Earth. And this was in 2018, December of 2018. So here we are. He also said in about a year and a half, things are going to become so extreme that you won't even know. It's going to change things as you know them. If you don't, basically, he was saying, if we don't change. And what happened was last year we experienced epic proportions of forest fires. The lungs of this planet were breathing the Amazon on fire, then Australia, oh my gosh, so much fire in Australia, and so much pain and loss and harm to animals. Now, all of those animals and trees and life force, the living beings that were burned, there is energy. That is energy. And anytime you burn something, it transmutes into the energy doesn't disappear, it transmutes. And so the transmutation of this energy, of this powerful life force energy, has it turns into something. And because we have been children basically running around on this planet. The Kogi consider us in the Western world, in modern society, they consider us their younger siblings, and they are the older siblings because they are still connected to the source. They're connected to the cosmos. And believe me, they know things that are in astronomy books that you would think you'd need to go get a PhD to understand. How do they know this? They don't have telescopes. They know things about the cosmos. They know things about, they know how to listen to the earth and really understand what's going on. And so they know what's going on the planet, even though they don't travel all over the world. So my takeaway here was when Juan was talking about we have 5 years left on this planet as we know it, they were saying that the younger siblings, you are wrecking the house and you're not being adults. You're not taking responsibility, your obligations to steward Mother Earth, to steward your own ecology, to steward your own thoughts. They have practices where you're not allowed to enter their village until you go through a very potent and comprehensive cleansing process, because and it was a thought cleansing process. You must have clean, clear thoughts to enter their village, because they understand this. They didn't take an online course to figure that out. You must understand that it is a time where our thoughts are so important. How we are responding to the situation, how we are cleansing and taking care of our thoughts so that we can really co-create this next evolution of humanship on this planet, collective global community, humanity on this planet. And so the younger siblings wrecking the house, we had these forest fires burning out of control, and yet nothing changed. Nothing changed. Did we buy less lumber? Did we change our forestry practices? Did we change policy with Brazil? What did we do as a collective? Nothing really changed after those forest fires. And there's a significant amount of trauma on this planet afterwards. In Australia, the Australian people, in the South American continent, and globally, we all saw the images and we just kind of put it away. And there's this collective cognitive dissonance going on. There's the collective, we're like colluding in collective cognitive dissonance. And that's a pretty firm statement. What do I mean by colluding with collective cognitive dissonance? Colluding is when we are talking to a friend and they say how shitty everything is and everything's falling, everything's bad and that's bad, and we dive in and chime in and feed the fire, feed the energy of that negativity, and that is not healing or transmuting or transforming anything. It is our obligation to transmute, transform, and to truly raise the vibration of everyone we come in contact with in every interaction online, how we phrase things, the words we use, the words we choose. We are obligated to raise the vibration on the planet right now, so that, and we might think that this is very abstract, but for the very concrete things that are about to unfold after in the next phase of this evolution we're going through, for that more linear, grounded, practical evolution of what is about to unfold, it is right now being called of us to raise the vibrancy of every communication we have with ourselves, with others, online, offline. It is our job right now to raise the vibration on this planet, to heal the collective trauma. We are in a new stage of trauma right now, and to not forget that there's layer and layers and layers of trauma. And we know that races have experienced hundreds of years of trauma. There's just all of this trauma that we have experienced as humans together on and separately on this planet. It is time to heal and to honor and recognize and acknowledge, so that we can move into this next phase. There's also a really interesting thing I want to note, about that I see happening, where people who might not have had like a spiritual inclination, or might not have been a leader in the mindfulness personal development space before, but everybody is kind of, like I said before, either in a figuring out what, making meaning of this moment, and kind of in retreat doing that, or putting forth their wisdom, putting forth their positive energy, offering service to others. There's a lot of that happening right now. And what is that doing? It is raising the frequency. It is raising the collective vibration. There's a lot of love and support going on right now collectively. And it doesn't mean that there's enough. There's just so much energy. It's as if I want you to just kind of picture that if you can zoom out from the earth right now, and as if you're looking down on all the people globally blanketing this earth, and we are all holding a membrane. It's like we're holding a membrane in our hands, and how we hold it is really what this whole experience is about. It's how we hold it, because this membrane is very sensitive right now, and it's calling for intention. And our intention for ourselves is, yes, it's really important. And what's more important is the intention for the collective. This is the time where we put faith in the belief and the absolute certainty that the more we serve, the more we show up and energetically project to the collective the world we want to see, the truth we want to know, the way we want to be. If we can collectively hold this membrane with such care for the other, not even ourselves and our family, holding it with such care for the whole global collective, for the Mother Earth, this earth and nature that we're sitting on, and living off of. If we can hold this collective membrane with such care, then it is absolutely going to feed us back. And you don't have to necessarily figure out what's going to happen to you or your family after this. Yes, you need to take care of yourselves. There's an Arab proverb that says, trust in God, but tie up your camel. And it is definitely time for that. It's take care of yourself, self-care, family care, and love your neighbor, the people in your immediate surroundings. And at the same time, that same energy is being called to give to the collective. And it doesn't mean you have to make videos and come online and serve and create programs, or to create a product or do things. Or, I know a lot of people are figuring out how they can invest in certain communities that are underserved, or how they can help really solve problems on a technical level right now. There is great need. And so, yes, leaping into action and doing what needs to be done, right? Tying up the camel is called for, absolutely. And at the same time, it takes about 2 seconds of energy to just focus inward before you get out of the car, before you get off the bus, if buses are even happening where you are, before you do what you do, before you go online, to just set your intention and a deeper, like a connection to what is really going on the larger picture. So this is just an offering. I wanted to come onto this episode and just offer a perspective that we all collectively hold this new reality that is unfolding. It's exciting. It's exciting, even though it's tragic and scary for many people. But to stay in that place of curiosity of what is being shown to us, and listening to Mother Earth unfold, there's like a significant amount of carbon emissions reduction happening right now because there are way less, if any, airplanes flying, right? It's quiet. There are less emissions happening because businesses are shutting down for a little while. So energy is being saved. There's there's just way less intensity right now out in the world because we are being called to stop, just to stop polluting, to stop emitting, to stop using and taking, and to focus on what is absolutely urgent right now. And in that happening, there is a deep pause on Mother Earth. She is able to breathe again. She is able to come alive again and serve us, but also teach us at the same time. Little siblings, you must take care of the house. You must stop making messes in every room, and you must stop, breaking all of the beauty in the house. This is the message of the kogi. The kogi also have a message for the world right now, to stop calling this thing by its name. That's why you haven't heard me call it by a name this entire time I've been talking. So we are also being called to recognize what it is. It's a transformational moment, unless you need to call it by its name for some clinical purpose, right? Or you're a reporter. Even if you're a reporter, then that's a greater obligation to start to change the energy, the narrative of what is going on right now. It is a narrative. And in the bigger scheme of things, this narrative is to take responsibility, to stay home, to let the world, the earth, everything heal, to trust, to go within, to listen, to meditate, to tune into the bigger picture of what is going on here. And that is, we are being called to a higher purpose, our higher purpose. And anything less than our higher purpose right now it's going to fall apart. It's going to continue to fall apart. That's the message that I keep getting. It's anything less than higher purpose right now, and the world will just completely continue to fall apart. This right here in the Kogi prophecy is not even close to what they were talking about. This right here is a whisper. They were talking about, this, if we don't change our ways and show up in this time right now differently and commit to the different way of being on this earth now, then it's going to get worse. There's going to be, can you imagine, like a meteor hits the planet, like crazy things that you haven't ever thought of. That's what is on the horizon right now if we don't heed the call of what is actually going on right now. And that is to tap into your higher purpose, really tap into your higher purpose. And if you need support with that, I am here for you. Reach out, tap into your higher purpose, stay in a place of higher consciousness, tune into the next dimension of reality. We call this sometimes the fifth dimension, or even beyond, new dimensions of reality, so that we can actually actualize that the world that the new paradigm that we've been talking about for so long. And if this is all new to you in any way, shape, or form, then begin where you are, just starting to open our minds and expand our consciousness and connect more dots and take responsibility for how we show up, the things we actually buy. Are you online, like doing a shopping frenzy right now, or are you respecting that there are people who, will be, you know, by us having to buy more stuff, we're continuing commerce, and we need to yes, we have commerce that has to happen because we're trying to protect an economy, right? But we're also talking about a complete systems change of the current economy, and that is to stop buying stuff we don't need, and that is to think about the people who are being put in danger by potentially being out in the world right now when there's crazy things happening, right? So how can you protect your neighbor? How can you protect the other humans on this planet right now? That is our concern. Everything is like every step we take, every action we take. How is this contributing? How is this contributing to a problem, or how is this contributing to a solution? And this, by the solution, we're defining that as this consciousness revolution, the evolution of all human beings on this planet, so that we can live in harmony with each other and with nature. And I'll close this episode off with one last piece, and that is a few weeks ago, I was in major planning mode for an event, a live event that was the effort of many people, and I put a lot of time into this, a lot of heart space, life force, energy, and at the last minute, we did cancel. We made that decision to cancel, and the minutes leading up to that, the days leading up to that, I was really just in this. I was very much in it, but I was also in this place of observation and of myself, my colleagues, and just the world, right? What is going on? And are we delusional? Like, what is going on right now? What's happening? And it was a really interesting moment. And then after we decided to cancel it, it was just there's a momentum. And this is a really important piece. There's something we call in the energy medicine world, the momentum tunnel. And a momentum tunnel, it's energy. It's if you're working on something, or even if you're just being a way that you've been for your whole life, there's a momentum to that. If you're working on, for an example, this is a great example because it's pretty visceral. Working on an event for months and months at a time. It's what you do every day, all day. And then all of a sudden it's canceled. And the last minute, a few days before it's supposed to start, then there's all this energy, a soul energy, an emotional energy, an intellectual energy, heart intention, the intention energy that's all going in a direction. All of a sudden it stops short, and it takes a minute for all of that energy and that momentum to pull back. Same with if you are continuing and living your life with a certain pattern. Why is it so hard to change a pattern? It's not only because of our will, it's also the momentum tunnel. It's where we are stopping a momentum, an energetic and soul momentum that has intention behind it. And no matter how, like, collecting many years of intention or many hours of intention, it's got speed. And we're talking about speed and velocity, like velocity and time. And that is what's fueling velocity and time, is what's fueling this momentum tunnel. So how do you stop and like change course of the momentum energetically, physically, emotionally, spiritually, on all levels? So when we canceled the event, we had to pivot and figure out what was next and get into the intellectual action space, right? But there was all of this energy I was noticing in myself, the emotional, spiritual intention, all of that time that was still going in a certain direction. And so I ended up having to really pull back and retreat to catch up to myself. Okay, to pull all of these energies in and catch up and create my own meaning making of what was going on outside of just my own experience. So it took me a little while to work with all these pieces. And I share this because wherever you are right now, it's a really important to give space and time to honor the momentum tunnel of what your experience is. And and now imagine this, the global humanity's consciousness, the soul of humanity right now, the soul of humanity, the motion of the system, it is a momentum tunnel in itself. Right now, take yourself. We were looking at my momentum tunnel. Then we're looking at maybe your own personal individual momentum tunnel, the momentum tunnel of a team, the momentum tunnel of an entire company, for example, the momentum tunnel of an entire tribe or an entire nation or a continent or the world. So now let's look at this. We as a world have had a momentum tunnel that is determined by velocity and time, right? The speed, the energy that has been going in a certain direction for a certain amount of time. And over such a short period of time. This huge disruption just happened. And there's still a lot of energy going in the direction, the same direction. And so everything I've shared so far really is about pulling together our intention to stop the momentum tunnel, to stop the momentum of the old way. Because in order to create a new reality where we live in harmony with each other and with nature, in a higher consciousness, really all experiencing the fulfillment of our higher purpose together, in order for that next world to actually unfold, and for business to to be part of that, we need to stop the momentum tunnel, stop business as usual. It's stopping for us, right? So our collective energy of what we put in for the input for the next evolution of this momentum tunnel, for the left turn or the right turn. I mean, think about a comet, a comet shooting across the sky at a certain velocity, time and velocity, right? And in order to turn the direction of that comet, there's incredible life force energy that has to happen in order to change the momentum, the direction of that comet. That's where we are right now as a collective. We are changing the collective momentum tunnel of humanity. And in human speak, in linear, like left brain terms, what does that mean? It's a systems change moment, all out systems change moment. So what we need to do is just pause, stop, listen, and let's rebuild and create a beautiful place to be. As if it was that simple, right? Well, I am sending you my love and my intention. And just please know that if you are interested, we will be putting more Catalyst Talk podcast episodes out consistently now going forward. We had to take that great pause while things were reorganizing themselves, and here we are. So I thank you for your presence and your time here. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear how you're making meaning of this moment in time, how this message landed for you, what stood out the most. And again, if you need support, the public service announcement for my company called Intentional Paradigms, and I am Stephanie Trager, of course, your host of Catalyst Podcast. I'm also a soul coach and a mentor to change agents who are really ready to tap into their higher purpose and access peak wellness to create their legacy impact. So anyone who is out there calling for support right now, reach out. Love to hear how this landed. We really are being called to go through this together and catalyze the next evolution of humanity on this planet. Thank you for joining me today. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Catalyst Talks. Stay tuned for what's up next, and please subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen. You'll find the links below at catalysttalks.com, and join us to continue the conversation on social media. If you'd like to reach out to me, Stephanie, please send a private message through Facebook, and you can find that link at catalysttalks.com. Your attention here means the world to me. So thank you, thank you, thank you.